HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem Neshalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hinei ma tovu manahagim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tovu manahagim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov, hinei ma tov. Yalla la yalla la 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 ya. Hinei ma tov, hinei ma tov. Yalla la 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 la. Everyone, ya la la ya la 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 la. Hine matov, hine matov. Ya la 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 la. Ay ay. Hine matov manahim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manahim shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. First and foremost, I want to welcome our amazing B'nai Mitzvah students, their families, their friends, our congregants. This is always a special event for us at the synagogue. It always draws, first of all of the clergy. Everything else in the synagogue is suspended as we rejoice in this communal celebration and our friends' achievements. Doing it was difficult this year, but the key thing is that we're doing it. It was a virtual preparation, and the ceremony itself is virtual. We're not able to be with each other physically, but the important thing is that we're with each other. So I want to thank, first of all of you who are attending. And even beyond that, of course, I want to thank the students, Jane, John, Judy, Alice, and Susan for the incredible amount of work and dedication that you've shown, and for allowing us to, through you, rejoice in what are difficult times for our country and for the world. So let's all rejoice. We begin the service, if you're following in the prayer book, on page 172 with Matovu.
Matovu, Matovu, oh Halecha Yaakov, Mishkelotecha Yisrael, Matovu, Matovu, oh Halecha Yaakov, Mishkelotecha Yisrael. בשכנותיך ישראל, מה טוב הוא, מה טוב הוא, אוהליך יעקב, בשכנותיך ישראל, בשכנותיך
Okay, I'm unmuted now, so you should be able to hear me now. We are on page 174 in our prayer book. I sent out a link to everyone in our group here in Zoom and also to Facebook. So please join along with us on page 174 for Elohai. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama. Every day is a new day. Let's give thanks together for our new souls. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi, a pure soul. Elohai, Elohai, neshama shenatata bi יצרת אתה נפחת בי ואתה משמרה בקרבי. Join along with me now. Elohai, Elohai, neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan letzekvivina leavchin ben yom uven laila. Page 175.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach Ephraim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam atir asurim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kifufim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten laya'ef koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavir shena meinai u'tnuma me'afapai.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tselem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani ben hurin.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen. Those were everyday miracles, things that we take for granted, like being able to open your eyes and see, being able to stand, being able to walk, being able to do basic things. And we treat every day like a miracle and every day like it's a new day. a new beginning for us, like we're seeing the world from a new place. Elu Devarim is on page 180. And this is guides us closer and closer to Torah, the Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. Elu Devarim she'en lahem shiur, Elu Devarim she'en lahem shiur, Elu Devarim she'en lahem shiur ve'eluhem. Elu Devarim she'en lahem shiur, Elu Devarim she'en lahem shiur, Elu Devarim she'en lahem shiur ve'eluhem. Kibud avahem u'gmilut hasadim Behashkamat Beit HaMidrash Shacharit Ve'harvit. Elu devarim she'en lahem shiur, Elu devarim she'en lahem shiur, Elu devarim she'en lahem shiur ve'eluhem. Try that with me. Elu devarim she'en lahem shiur, Elu devarim she'en lahem shiur, Elu devarim she'en lahem shiur ve'eluhem. Kibud ba'at ba'em, honoring your mother and father, which is what this is about. Kibud avahem u'gmilut hasadim V'hashkamat Beit HaMidrash Shacharit ve'harvit. V'talmud Torah keneged kulam, V'talmud Torah keneged kulam, V'talmud Torah keneged kulam. The study of Torah leads to all these things. V'talmud Torah, join me with that. V'talmud Torah keneged kulam, V'talmud Torah keneged kulam, V'talmud Torah keneged kulam. Try it again. V'talmud Torah keneged kulam, V'talmud Torah keneged kulam, V'talmud Torah keneged kulam. From the top, Elu. Elu devarim she'en lahem shiur, Elu devarim she'en lahem shiur, Elu devarim she'en lahem shiur ve'eluhem. Continue our service with Baruch She'amar. This is the section of the service called Psukei Zimra, which means verses of singing. So I hope all of you are singing at home. So join us in singing. This is verses of praise. It's to get you in the mood of prayer, to get you ready for the Baruch Hu, which is the Baruch Hu means we're ready to pray. So let's get ready to pray. This is like Kabbalat Shabbat on Friday night. This is the Kabbalat Shabbat of Saturday morning. So let's warm up together. We're on page 185, or 183, excuse me, 183. Baruch She'amar, join me. Baruch She'amar ve'haya olam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Ochzeh Bereshit, Baruch Omer ve'oseh, Baruch Ozer u'mekayem, Baruch Merachem al haaretz, Baruch Merachem al habriot, Baruch She'etzem sacharto lireyav, Baruch ha'elad ve'kayam la'netzach, Baruch Odeh u'matzil, Baruch Shemo. Let's try a different melody for this same prayer. Baruch She'amar. Baruch She'amar ve'haya olam, Baruch Baruch Ochzeh Bereshit, Baruch Omer ve'oseh, Baruch gozer u'mekayem, Baruch. Blessed are you, blessed is the one, Baruch. Blessed are you, blessed is the one, Baruch. I'm going to try that from the top again. Join me in singing this time. Everyone, Baruch She'amar, Baruch She'amar v'haya ha'olam, Baruch Oseh Bereshit, Baruch Oseh Bereshit, Baruch Merachem al haaretz, Baruch. Join me now. Blessed are you, blessed is the one, Baruch. 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 Let's continue with the Ashrei, which we can find on page 185. Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha,
Ashrei shekach lo, Ashrei she'Adonai Elohav.
Tehillah leDavid, arumimcha Elohai hamelech, v'avarcha shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Bechol yom avarchecha, v'halela shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai u'malal me'od, v'ligdulato ein chaker.
Dor ledor yishabach ma'asecha, u'gvurotecha yagidu.
Adar kivod hodecha, v'divrei niflutecha asicha.
Ve'zuz norotecha yomeru, gdulatcha saprana.
Necher avtucha yabiu, v'tzicha yiranenu.
Hanun v'rachum Adonai, erech apayim ugdol chesed.
Tov Adonai lechol, v'rachamav al kol ma'asav.
Yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yevarchucha.
Kivod malchutecha yomeru, v'gvuratecha yidaberu.
Lehodia livnei ha'adam gvurotav, uchvod hadar malchuto.
Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor.
Somech Adonai lechol hanoflim, v'zokef lechol hakfufim.
Hinei kol elecha yisaberu, v'atanutin lachem et ochlam ba'ito.
Poteach et yadecha, u'masbia lechol chai ratzon.
Tzadik Adonai b'chol drachav, v'chasid b'chol ma'asav.
Karov Adonai lechol korav, lechol asher hikra'uhu ve'emet.
Retzon yire'av ya'aseh, v'et shavatam yishma v'yoshihem.
Shomer Adonai et kol ohavav, ve'et kol rishayim yashmid.
Tehillah Adonai yedaber pi, v'yivarech kol basar shimko le'olam va'ed.
V'anachnu nevarech ya, me'ata ve'ad olam, Hallelujah.
Amen. We continue with Hallelujah, which you can find on the next page, on page 188. Please join me in singing. You can clap, you can dance, you can sing, you can do whatever you want. You're at home, it's a free synagogue, meaning we're free to do what we want, okay? Please, everybody, freedom of view. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. me, everyone. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Hallelujah, 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 el bekocho, hallelujah, birki yauzo, hallelujah, bigaburo tam, hallelujah, kirogolo. Everyone now, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, beteka shofar, hallelujah, benevel bechinur, hallelujah, betkof umakol, hallelujah, bemini meugav, hallelujah, 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 beminim beugav. Hallelujah, hallelujah, b'tzir tzalei shama. Hallelujah, b'tzir tzalei truma. Kol hanshama te'alelya, kol hanshama te'alelya. Everyone now, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Everyone now. Sing and dance, play the drums, do whatever you have to do to make a joyful noise at home, everyone. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Nishmat kol chai tevarech et shimcha. We daven, we daven, we daven. We're on page 189.
Psalm 104 presents an image of God as robing God's self in glory, majesty, and light. Our sages speak of the talit as an embodied metaphor of being sheltered under the protection of God's wings. The tzitzit, the tassels on the talit, represent the 613 laws of the Torah that help us to live our best lives, inspiring us to do our part, working towards tikkun olam, the healing of the world. Alice, Jane, Judy, John, and Susan, we have studied many of the Torah's laws, stories, values, and teachings together. We have journeyed with each other over these last 2.5 years through celebrations and challenges. And through it all, we have been strengthened by the words and teachings of the Torah and the community we built around it. In preparation for your putting on of your talitot, we share this blessing with you. May you be wrapped in the light of prayer, the strength of community, and the holiness of spiritual connection. May you be guided forward by the light of Torah. I now invite the members of the Zoom Adult B'nai Mitzvah class to say the blessing and put on their talitot.
Baruch
atah
Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehidatei b'tzitzit.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Service continues on page 194 with the Chatzi Kaddish. Yikra v'yikra shmei Rabba.
Amen.
Yamad yivra kiroteh v'yamnich machuteh.
B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayedu kol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabba Mivara Le'ala mulal ne'amaya Yid Barach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitromam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalash mit kudsha
Berichu
Ve'ela mikol bechata v'shirata
Tush Bechata V'nehemata Damiran B'yama V'imru Amen.
And now we rise for the Baruch Hu. If we are able, you may rise. We're on page 195. Please join us.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach
On page 195. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvarei choshech, oseh shalom uvarei et hakol. Hameir la'aretz v'ladarim alecha barachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu masecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, mala haaretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, va'al me'orei or, she'asita yifa'arucha sela. Or chadash al Tzion ta'ir, v'nizcheh chulanu me'era lehoro. Baruch atah Adonai, yotzer ha'me'orot.
Page 186, El Adon, master of all things. God is the master of all things, and we recite these verses of praise, permutations of praise on page 196 through the full Hebrew alphabet from Aleph to Taf. Every aspect of God is giving praise from beginning to end. El Adon al kol ma'asihim baruch umvorach v'fi kol neshama godlo v'tuvo ma'alei olam dat u'tvona sovavim oto hamikae al chayot hakodesh v'nehedar bechavod al המרכבה זכות ומשול לפני כיסו חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת ברם בהשכל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה נאה זיום בכל העולם שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם עושים בהמה וצאן קונם פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמות צלחולה ורינה לזכל מלכם קרא לשמש ויזרח אור רב התקין צורת הלבנה שבע נותנים לו כל צבע מרום יגרה לה 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 everyone now la 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 שבט נותנים לו כל צבע מרום Page 198, Ahava Rabbah. Which means love. Great love. We fill our hearts with love, we fill our souls with love, we fill the world with love, and that love of God, God's love of us, we connect with that love to unite us all as one people under one God from all four corners of the earth. Page 198, united in love. Ahava Rabba Tanu Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gedola Vitera Chamalta Aleinu Ba'avur Avotenu Ve'imotenu Shebatchu Vecha Shebatchu Vecha Shebatchu Vecha ותלמדם חוקי חיים כן תתבוננו תלמדנו המרחם רחם עלינו המרחם רחם עלינו ותן בליבנו להבין להבין ולהזכיר לשמור על ללמוד וללמד לשמור ולעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה והר עינינו והר עינינו בתורתך בתורתך ודבק ליבנו ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך במצוותיך והר עינינו והר עינינו בתורתך בתורתך ודבק ליבנו ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך במצוותיך להבד ולברינו לאהבה ולראה את שמך ולא נבוש ולא נקלם ולא נכשל לעולם ועד כי בשם שמך הגדול והנורא בטחנו נגילה ונשמחה נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך היי לה 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 כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא ותחדו בתחדו נגילה ונשמחה נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך והביאנו לשלום the four corners of the earth, and we can join together the four corners of our talit, which is the symbol of this. במו ישראל באהבה.
Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebaha uve'chol nafshiha uve'chol meodeha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anohi v'tzafeha hayom al levaveka v'nishatam lavaneka v'ditvarba baham v'shivtaha v'viteka uvlektaha v'derek uvshokbeha ukumeka uvshaktam leot al yadeka v'hayu lotatafot beinigneka uvtaftam al mezuzot Beiteka uvishareka laman tizkaru vahasitem kol mitzvotai vihi etem kedoshim leilo lehem ani Adonai Elohehem asher hodseiti edhem be'eretz Mizrahim Lehiot Lahem Elohim Ani Adonai Eloheim
Adonai Elohechem Amen.
What does freedom mean? The Michamocha, our prayer of freedom, tells the story of the Jews leaving Egypt and escaping to Israel, starting their journey to Israel and escaping slavery to get to freedom. But what is freedom? Freedom is about breaking the bonds that hold us back. It is about not letting things stop us and get in our way, not being held up. Today is certainly a day of freedom. Nothing could stop you. Nothing would stop us from celebrating with you. Not a pandemic, not some technology. Nothing was going to stop us. And so I invite you to really take this moment in our Michamocha prayer today to really bring in joy and to really celebrate freedom. This is not the end of a journey. It was not for the Israelites. This is only the beginning. And so today, as you discover freedom, please join us in celebrating what you have started on in your journey. Cantor Singer.
Thank you, Rabbi. Joy and so much energy for these prayers when I see you all dancing and see you all clapping along. Let's keep it going. Everybody now, everybody now, everybody now. I really can't wait until we all can dance together again in the sanctuary, holding hands and dancing around our sanctuary like that. Sur Yisrael, kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, ufdechinu mecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael, go'aleinu Adonai tzvot shemo, kedosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Gahal Yisrael. Continue with the Amidah as we open our lips, open our hearts, open our minds and our souls to God and to connecting with God through the Amidah, the standing prayer on page 205.
Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Sfatai Tiftach. Na 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 Yagi. Ufi Yagi Tahilatech.
Everybody. Yana na
Na na na na na na na na Adonai.
Yana
Na 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 Sfatai Tifta.
Yana
Na 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 Ufi Yagi.
Ufi
Ufi
Yagi
Yagi
Tehilatecha. Yana nine 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 Adonai. Yana nine 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 Sevatai Tiftach. Yana nine 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 Ufi Yagi. Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, האל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי האבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיה הכל, אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בגבורו תמידו מלך, מלך ממית וחיה ומצמיח ישועה, בנאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. Kedusha is on page 208. And you can join along in the indented parts. Those are for the congregation. We teach it to all our B'nai Mitzvah. And you can remain standing for this part. And we go up on our heels 3 times for the Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Kadesh et Shimcha ba'olam, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשם ארון הכתוב על יד אביך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ, כבודו, אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני במקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, אבינו מלכנו, מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ורחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה, לדור ודור אגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. We're on 210 at the bottom. For Vishamru, we join in singing Vishamru and Yismechu as we conclude our Amidah. B'shamru, as much as Shabbat has kept the Jews, so too must Jews continue to keep Shabbat. B'shamru b'nei Yisrael et Hashem. את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת ללא תמרית וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת ללא תמרית ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת Be happy. Oreorek Shabbat. Eloheinu v'Elokei Avotenu v'Imotzeinu Retzei v'Imnuchatenu Kareshenu b'mitzvotecha v'tein chelkenu b'toratecha sabeinu mitovecha v'samechenu b'yeshuatecha. V'taheri beinu, v'taheri beinu, v'taheri beinu li'odecha be'emet. V'taheri beinu, v'taheri beinu, v'taheri beinu li'odecha be'emet. Ha-la-la-lai, diga-dai, 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 diga-dai. Hey, la-la-la-lai, 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 diga-dai-la-la-la-lai, la-la-la-la-lai. V'taheri beinu, v'taheri beinu, v'taheri beinu li'odecha be'emet. V'taheri beinu, v'taheri beinu, v'taheri beinu li'odecha be'emet. Ha-la-la-lai, diga-dai, 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 diga-dai. Hey, la-la-la-lai, 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 diga-dai-la-la-la-lai, la-la-la-la-lai. V'taheri beinu, v'taheri beinu, v'taheri beinu li'odecha be'emet. V'taheri beinu, v'taheri beinu, v'taheri beinu li'odecha be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. We pause for a moment of silent prayer. And cut. Okay. So we continue with our Torah service now, I believe.
This morning we will be reading from the parasha for Pesach Shabbat Chol HaMoed, Exodus 33, verses 12 through 22, and chapter 34, verses 4 through 9, which was the Torah portion on the Shabbat back last April when the class was to have their service originally. In this section of the Torah, the Israelites are in the desert waiting for Moses at the foot of Mount Sinai, and we learn how they lost faith while waiting for Moses and created a golden calf. We see Moses' response to their actions when he comes down from the mountain with the 2 tablets upon which the 10 Commandments were written. It is my honor and pleasure to call up the members of the Zoom B'nai Mitzvah for the Torah blessings and to chant from the Torah. Ya'amdu, Alice Welt Cunningham, Aliza Root, Jane Levian, Chaya Sarah, John McCormick, Mayor Chofesh, Susan Katz Radin, Sushana Rahel, and Judith Katz, Yehudit, Lalia La Torah, Chazak Chazak, V'nitchazik.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch
Baruch atah Adonai
Leolam
Va'ed.
Baruch atah
Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacharanu mikol ha'amim natan lanu et Torah. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Vayomar panai yelehu v'hanichoti la vayomer elav im ein panecha Elohim al ta'alenu mizeh uvameh yivada efo ki matzati hen beinecha ani v'yamecha halo bilektiha imanu v'niflinu ani v'yamha mikol ha'am asher al panei ha'adama.
Vayo Omer Adonai, Hine Makom, Iti B'nitzvata al Hasur, Vayhaya Va'abur Kevodihi, Besatika Benikrahat Hatzor, Besakoti Hapi Aleha Ad Ovrihi.
Aifso Shnei luchot avanim karishanim vayashkem Moshe vaboker vaya'al el har Sinai Ka'asher Siva Adonai Oto Vayikach Biado Shnei Luchot Avanim Vayered Adonai Be'anan Vayityatzef Imo Sham Vayikra V'Shem Adonai.
Vayimaher Moshe Vayikod Artsa Vayishtahu Vayomer Imna Matzati Chen Be'enecha Adonai Yelechna Adonai B'kirbeinu Ki Am Kishay Oref Hu V'salakta La Avonenu U Chatatenu Un Chaltanu Baruch atah
Adonai
Eloheinu
Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu B'Torah Emet V'Chayei Olam Nata B'Tochenu Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Shekach, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, yelanu. Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, yelanu. Hey, yelanu, yelanu, lechol Yisrael. Elanu lechol Yisrael, David melech Yisrael, chai v'kayam. David melech Yisrael, chai v'kayam. Lechavoi simen tov mazel tov, mazel tov simen tov, simen tov mazel tov, mazel tov simen tov, simen tov mazel tov, mazel tov simen tov, Yehelanu. We still have to do the blessing.
Prayer for healing. Misha bercha avotenu, hitivarech v'tirape et hacholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors grant blessing and healing to all those in need. And if you'd like to name someone in the chat, please feel free to do so now. May the source of life support them in their time of illness. May God's presence encourage and strengthen them and speedily send them a complete healing of body and spirit. We continue with the conclusion of our Torah service on page 256.
Yehallelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskah Shemo levado. Hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem keren le'amo, tehila lechol chasidav libnei Yisrael am keroho. Hallelujah, hallelujah. It's מחזיקים בה ותומכיה מאושה דרכך דרכנו וכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה קדש קדש ימינו קדש ימינו כקדם.
Dear congregation, friends, and family, it is an honor to read this Devar Torah entitled Second Chances, written by Audrey Gursky Matson, Adrian Sanchez, and myself on behalf of our B'nai Mitzvah class. We stood by the base of the mountain and watched until Moses passed from view, immovable, rigid figures, standing as still as stone. Dark clouds swirled overhead in erratic patterns, covering the peak of the mountain from sight. A sharp wind whipped our clothing against our vulnerable flesh. Wet sand packed beneath our feet, mixed with shards of blue sapphire, reminding us of our transgression, radiating anger, reflecting the faces of the stone statues. Yet we were consumed with revived faith, hearts open, ready to receive. Torah never tells us what the Israelites were thinking while waiting at the base of Mount Sinai. At this point, the Israelites have fled Egypt, crossed the Red Sea to freedom, and are wandering in the wilderness. They come upon Mount Sinai. Moses climbs up the mountain and receives the 10 Commandments. Moses descends the mountain only to find that the Israelites reverted to old patterns by building and worshiping an idol, the golden calf. A mere 40 days before, the Israelites heard the command, "You shall have no other gods before me," from God. In his fury, Moses smashes the tablets. That could have been the end of the story, but the most amazing thing happened. The people were given a second chance. It occurred to us that our experiences parallel those of the Israelites. In becoming adult B'nai Mitzvah, we too had a mountain to climb. And like the Israelites, doing so was an exercise in faith, humility, and coming together in community. Faith. When the Israelites saw that Moses was delayed on Mount Sinai, their faith was undermined and they sought to create a golden calf to worship. It was easier to create a statue that they could see, touch, and stand in front of, rather than to risk exposing themselves emotionally and spiritually. Sitting before you now, from the comfort of our homes, not having any recent experience in the Sinai wilderness, it is easy to question the Israelites' actions. How could they have disobeyed God after they had already experienced God's strength in leading them from Egypt? However, looking through a different lens, we can come to understand why the Israelites would have created such a deal. They had come out of Egypt from many, many years of slavery, where they had experienced extreme difficulty, hardship, and pain. They were frightened and threatened by perceived abandonment. For many in our group, it is easy to look through that lens and sympathize with the Israelites. It would have been easier for us not to take this journey, to remain confined within our respective comfort zones, to refuse to confront the status quo. The idea of opening our hearts, allowing ourselves to become vulnerable, was frightening. But like the Israelites, we took the second chance. We stood at the base of our own mountain, filled with doubt, wondering how we would ever have the strength to embark on this journey. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks said, "Faith is not certainty. It is the courage to live with uncertainty. It is not knowing all the answers. It is often the strength to live with the questions. It is not a sense of invulnerability. It is the knowledge that we are utterly vulnerable, but that it is precisely in our vulnerability that we reach out to God. We learn that we must have the courage to be vulnerable, to transform our initial doubts into faith. We must trust and remain open to receive. Without this, we cannot grow. We cannot really live." Humility. While Moses' actions showed that he was strong, brave, and compassionate, the only characteristic the Bible shares about him was that he was an ish anav, a humble man. Do you think of Moses as humble? Imagine Moses reaching the top of Mount Sinai, having just made the highest aliyah possible, being spiritually uplifted, open, and ready to receive God's words, having had the most awe-inspiring meeting with the CEO of all CEOs, and then needing to convince God that the Jewish people who were busy below worshiping the golden calf were still worthy of mercy, worthy of the covenant, worthy of Torah, and worthy of protection. He speaks to God humbly, arguing the case for this stiff-necked people. There is a midrash about why Moses smashes the first set of tablets that illuminates his deep humility. While we read that Moses smashes the tablets in fury upon seeing the people worshiping the golden calf, the midrash explains that Moses smashed the tablets in order to display to the Israelites that he too had faults within himself. That is, his temper and a loss of control. Moses exposes his flaws to the Israelites to let them know that they are not inferior to him. In this light, the act was one of humility and may have even encouraged the Israelites to not allow their own flaws and vulnerabilities to stand in the way of their taking a second chance to open their hearts to God, just as Moses takes a second chance to again climb up Mount Sinai, to again receive God's commandments after having smashed the first set of tablets. As our class progressed through our 2-year course in preparation for our B'nai Mitzvah, we too needed to be open and humble and vulnerable throughout this process. Have any of you tried recently to learn a new language? As adults and as professionals, we were all confident to carry on our daily lives. Yet here in class, we were awkwardly learning to read, write, and speak Hebrew, from right to left, no less. In addition to learning the Shabbat prayers and presenting the weekly Torah portion to each other, most of us had no experience to rely on here. We were vulnerable, we struggled, and yet we were humble enough to be open to these new challenges and experiences. Rabbi Hanina ben Edie said, "Why are the words of Torah likened to water? In order to indicate that just as water leaves high places and goes to low places, so the words of the Torah leave the one who is haughty and stay with the one who is humble." We are proud to be more like water. Community. What an enormous challenge Moses faced when he descended the mountain with the second set of tablets in his hand. He had succeeded in convincing God that the Israelites deserved a second chance. Now, to fulfill his commitments to God, Moses had to build trust, teamwork, and shared values among his people. No easy task. The people needed to become a kahila, a community. The best way of turning a diverse and disconnected group into a community is to get them to build something together. The Torah provided them with the blueprint of how to become an integrated and high-functioning community. It did so through providing a solid scaffolding of time and space upon which the Israelites could organize their lives. Shabbat and holiday observances brought them closer together. Building the portable sanctuary made them reliant upon one another. As a group going through B'nai Mitzvah, we have learned how important community can be. The 11 of us, ranging in age from 25 to 90, joined hands, took a journey of faith, one step at a time. We climbed our mountain together. We started with learning the Aleph Bet, moved to the history of the Jews, and studied great Jewish philosophers. The 11 of us were drawn to this journey for different reasons. 2.5 years ago, when we started our journey, we too were diverse and disconnected. We differed in age, employment, marital status, and background. Our reasons for joining the program differed, but our common goal was to become more immersed in the Stephen Wise community. Our class built its own community by learning together and praying together. We built trust and learned how to boldly voice our opinions. Sometimes we disagreed, but mostly we laughed, supported, and encouraged. Our lives are all richer now, and our commitment to the teachings and values of Judaism are stronger. We read in Pirkei Avot, "Great is Torah, for it gives life to those that practice it." We received the Torah inherited from Moses, the Israelites, and all of the generations in between. We have taken the second chance. We were given to engage in Torah, strengthen our faith, and gain a greater sense of community. As we read in Proverbs, Torah is a tree of life to all who hold fast to it. Torah gives life when we take the opportunity to hold it, study it, engage with it, and learn from it. When we do this, we find our lives have been enriched beyond measure. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Yasher Koach. What an inspiration from beginning to end. We want to say to Jane and John, Judy, Alice, and Susan, it's been a high honor for us and a distinct privilege to be able to work with you for these many years, to study together, to debate, to learn from and be inspired by you. Such amazing and impressive people. So much depth, sincerity, brilliance, and energy. Some of our congregation's finest community members. It's really a remarkable sight to behold. I should tell you that rabbis go into the rabbiting in the first place to meet people like you, who teach us more than any of the greatest scholars can teach us. Not that I'm against the great scholars that we had at the seminary, but in reality, you teach us more about life and about the Jewish community than what we can ever learn from in books. The Mishnah states that when two people sit together and study Torah, the Shekhinah, the presence of God, is within their midst. And I want to suggest to you that's been our ultimate meaning together within the finite realities of the human condition. We have invoked the presence of the infinite, if not in our actual sensations, at least in our aspiration. All of us, all of the clergy who are all here today, and many of your teachers who taught you over the last couple of years, We realize that this period has not been easy for you. But you know, if you look back at Jewish history, perhaps the one attribute that most characterizes the Jews is persistence. We shouldn't be here. Jews should have disappeared from the world long ago. All of the nations of antiquity that were our neighbors, that lived side by side to us, they all disappeared. They're gone with the wind. No one, not even historical experts, I think, can pinpoint all the reasons why of all of those nations, some of them superpowers of antiquity. It was only we that survived. When I'm in a specific spiritual state of mind, I just attribute it to God's will. That for some unfathomable reason, God willed this people to survive, and our very existence testifies to the existence of God. Still, one of the marvels of Jewish tradition and of the history of the Jewish people is our persistence. It's not that we were stronger than others. To the contrary, we were often weaker than those around us. We were no more intelligent, no more advanced, no more sophisticated than others. But the one thing that astonishes about the Jews is how persistent we've been. Throughout the kinds of trials, turmoil, and tribulations that broke other nations, somehow we endured. We just picked ourselves up and marched on. And that essential Jewish quality, stubborn persistence, that in so many ways defines who we are, is within each of you as well, individually and as a collectivity. These were hard years for you. I want all of those who are with us today, and I saw the many, many people who are tuning in today this morning, friends and family members. I want all of you to appreciate the glory of the triumph of these students. It's not only that you devoted such a substantial chunk of your lives to reach this day. It's not only that the concepts of Torah that you mastered are exceedingly difficult, as evidenced by your magnificent Dvar Torah, but that you have done it as adults. You know, we do B'nai Mitzvah every week. Most teenagers, they can whip through these Torah portions with ease, and they can do whatever we ask them to do. Their brains are supple, their mind is quick. They could easily master twice the amount of material that we give them if they, and really more to the point, their parents asked us to do so. But with the adults, for us, the mechanics of learning, the nuts and bolts of picking up language and music, it's not the same. Our brains work differently. And therefore, you have worked so hard separately and together, with some breaks for summers and holidays. We met every week. It's a testament to your enormous Jewish energies, your desire to know more about yourselves and your heritage, and the immense dedication and perseverance that flows within you. You remind us of something American Jews tend to forget, that Jewish thought and Jewish study is for adults, that the depth, sophistication, and compelling teachings of Judaism are a marvel and a miracle, that what we lose in our lifetimes in the speed of brain circuitry, over time we gain in depth of understanding. Discovering Torah as adults, it's like discovering the fountain of youth. It keeps our people alive and vital forever. And of course, you surmounted what no other class in the history of Stephen Wise did, or even imagined, or will do for the rest of our lives. You prevailed over a once-in-a-century pandemic. Just to look at you, even through a screen and not face to face, Just to look at you is to be reassured about the human condition and about the Jewish future. You stand in a long chain of transmission of generations of Jews who came before you, who themselves surmounted the challenges of their times, some of which, without minimizing what we're going through, some of which were even worse than the pandemic that we're living through. And they prevailed against all the adversities that life imposed. You've done it the same way that Jews have always done it. You spoke about it yourselves. You did it through faith and through community. And you did it with this amazing and inspirational sense of modesty. Jewish sages felt that humility is the key virtue that leads to all other virtues. You mentioned Mount Sinai. When Moses gets up there, God tells him, take off your sandals. Humility is not weakness or meekness, as you pointed out yourselves. If we weren't expressly told, would we have described Moses as a humble man? Humility is not self-effacement, not lack of ambition, not lack of striving or leadership or accomplishment or success. Moses was all of these. But what he eventually understood is the closer he came to God, the more he realized how far he was from God. The closer he came to knowledge, the more he knew how little he really knew. That, as you pointed out, is the true religious spirit. It's the spirit to live with uncertainty. It is the spirit of wonder, awe, amazement, imagination, and humility. Humility, not arrogance. Doubt, not certainty. These are the essence of religion. It is the spirit to know that we will endure challenges, difficulty, hardship, and struggle. Our faith teaches that we must keep our head high even in those moments of defeat. That the human creature is the pinnacle of all creation, endowed with divine dignity. This is the meaning and significance of our lives, even in loss. And since you mentioned the midrash of Moses smashing the tablets, I'll conclude my remarks by reminding you of another midrash that I love. When Moses places the second set of tablets in the Ark of the Covenant, some sages asked, what happened to the original set of tablets, the ones that Moses smashed? What happened to all those pieces? We read in the Talmud that Rabbi Joseph taught, the second set of tablets from the first set of tablets, the shards of the first set of tablets were placed in the Ark of the Covenant by Moses, side by side with the second perfect set of tablets. Because those first set of tablets, the broken pieces, they too bore the imprint of the divine word. They didn't lose their sanctity simply because they were broken. And for this reason, the rabbi argued, Moses placed the pieces of the shattered tablets alongside the unbroken tablets in the Ark of the Covenant. All of us carry the shards of brokenness in us, but they too are holy. They too are part of our human composition. The true religious spirit is to learn to live with adversity, not to escape struggle, but to struggle with escapism. Not to empty challenge from our lives, but to challenge the emptiness of life. And I say to you, Jane and John, Judy, Alice and Susan, to know you, to learn with you, to admire you, is to marvel at what we human beings can accomplish with will, determination, faith, community, and persistence. You teach us about strength, about endurance. Human grandeur is revealed in all its glory through the persistence to carry on. You are the best of us. Thank you for what you exemplify. Even years from now, those of us who have journeyed this part of the way with you will always find deep resonance and meaning in your example. You're the COVID generation. You reached the mountaintop, and along the way, you carried the rest of us with you. Stay involved, stay active. There is no Jewish life separate from the Jewish community. To be a Jew outside the community is a contradiction in terms. Love the Jewish people. Have faith in our collective destiny. We are an Am Olam, an eternal people, and you are part of eternity. So I say to you, dear classmates, fellow students, you have linked your hopes and dreams to generations past. They lived and died for the precious gift of chanting God's words as you have done today. You have kept faith with those who sleep in the dust, and in so doing, you have planted the seeds of renewal for the next generation. We are so proud of you. You have bestowed great honor on your families and our congregation. May God grant you fullness of years, many moments of good health, joy, and abundant blessings. Chazak ve'ematz, may you go from strength to strength, and may all of us be strengthened by you. And now it's my pleasure to ask each of you individually to join me in a separate chat room so that I can bestow God's blessings personally upon you.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. L'dor v'dor nagid god lecha. L'dor v'dor we protect this chain. From generation to generation, L'dor v'dor, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are pictures of your way, and the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. L'dor v'dor nagid god lecha. L'dor v'dor we protect this chain. From generation to generation. Adore, his lips will praise your name. To a land that God will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechila, to a land that God will show you. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. And you shall be a blessing. Lechina. Lechina. And God will make your name great. And all shall praise your name. Lechila. On your journey, God will bless you. L'simcha chayim, l'simcha chayim, l'simcha chayim lechiha. And you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Ledor vador, ledor vador, ledor vador, nagid godlecha, ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushatcha nakish, ledor vador, ledor vador, ledor vador, nagid godlecha, ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushatcha nagdish, b'shivchacha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamus el ha'vaed, ki el melech gadol, ki el melech gadol, lakadosh nata, ledor vador, ledor vador, ledor vador, nagid godlecha, ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushatcha nahagdish, b'shivchacha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamos le'olam vahed, בטוב הדור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש ברוך אתה אדוני ברוך שמו ההל
So am I on now?
You are.
Can you all hear me?
I hear you, sir.
We hear
Okay.
you.
So we had a little bit of a problem with technology. For those who didn't have an opportunity to be personally blessed, we'll do that. I'll just follow the lead of my colleagues and we'll figure out how to do that. I will say to all of you and bestow upon all of us the priestly benediction. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and protect you. Yair Adonai panavelecha v'chuneka. May the light of life shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panavelecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God be with you all your days and grant you a lifetime of happiness, joy, good health, meaning, community, faith, and peace. Amen.
Join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. One more time for everybody at home. And I believe we now conclude our service on page 282. We congratulate everyone, all of our wonderful B'nai Mitzvah, as we conclude our service with Aleinu. And you may rise if you are able. On page 282, I shared a link with our group, and you can just click on that, and it'll open you right to that page 282 at the top of the page. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, bottom of the page, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא חלקנו הם בגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. 184 at the top of the page. ויוסר הארץ ומושב עיקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינת זו בגובי מרונים הוא אלוהינו אמת מלכנו את צורתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת יום וישב אותה לבביך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחתינו. Next page. ונאמר, next one, ותהיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא. 287 ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
Can you all hear me?
I hear you.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. John, Alice, Judith, Jane, and Susan, I'm so honored and incredibly happy to be sharing this wonderful occasion with all of you. Let me tell you something. Although I'm the president of the synagogue, I don't really have the powers of a president. I can't veto anything. I can't issue any executive orders. I can't pardon anyone. But one of the benefits of being president of the synagogue, indeed, one of the very few, is that you have the prerogative of making the very first choice of which bar or bat mitzvah to sign up for. I signed up for this a long time ago, and I kept choosing it when the day kept moving. And the reason I chose this is because I genuinely admire so much what all of you have done. You know, when children have their bar and bat mitzvah, they essentially have no choice whatsoever in the matter. They have to do what they're told. But you didn't have to do this. No one made you do this. You did this because you wanted to accomplish this. You wanted to put in the work. You wanted to study and learn with our clergy. You wanted to sing our sacred prayers. You wanted to chant from our beloved Torah. And you wanted to confirm your devotion and your dedication to our synagogue and to the Jewish people. So this truly is a high honor and privilege for me to be here with you and your families to share this mitzvah, this wonderful day with you, and to congratulate you on your B'nai Mitzvah. I know that you have been working so hard, literally for years, and waited so patiently for this wonderful day. I know this Zoom service is not what you originally had intended, but let me tell you something. Today, you make your families proud, you make our clergy proud, you make me proud, and you make our entire congregation and community proud. May your bar and bat mitzvah today, always as you remember it, be a source of joy and inspiration to you throughout your life. On behalf of the entire congregation of Stephen Wise Free Synagogue, I'm also happy to give you a few gifts virtually. There is a Shabbat prayer book that I have been borrowing and using for the service that will have your name in it, that is dedicated to you. It will go to the synagogue and be in the services, and it's donated by the religious school. I personally signed a certificate of bar and bat mitzvah for each one of you. This is Alice's example. I'm not going to do a share screen, but I'm just going to give it, and you all have it. And it wasn't on my prepared remarks, but I believe that we ordinarily give a Kiddush cup from the women's organization. I don't know if we're going to do that, but you know what? I think that may also be one of my powers. I may be able to get each one of you a Kiddush cup as well from the women's organization. And with that, I give you Mazel Tov from me and from everyone. Genuinely, it was beautiful to be here. And I think I speak on behalf of the more than 100 people who have been muted, but I'm going to give them voice. And I think that everyone has really enjoyed being here and just feel so proud of all of you. Enjoy the day and Mazel Tov.
Thank you.
We turn now to Mourner's Kaddish. If you're remembering someone and would like to share their name in the chat, I invite you to do so now. And we turn to page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam la'omei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. May the one who makes harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel and all who dwell on earth. And let us say, Amen.
We thank everyone who participated in the service this morning. Mazel Tov to Alice, Judy, Jane, John, and Susan. You make us so proud. And a shout out to the other members of this class, Hannah, Nikki, Sharon, Audrey, Kim, and Adrian, to whom we are looking forward to celebrating with in November. We close our service with Adon Olam, and after Adon Olam, everyone will be able to unmute, turn your cameras on, and say hi and wish everyone a Mazel Tov. Shabbat Shalom. Adon Olam.
Shabbat Shalom. We're going to continue with Adon Olam, and I'm going to give you guys the link right there straight to Adon Olam. And hopefully someone can copy it and share it for our Facebook friends. We're going to conclude with Adon Olam, as has become a sort of a tradition at Stephen Wise, from two B'nai Mitzvah, B'nai Mitzvot. It's very confusing. Anyway, they introduced a new melody for us of Adon Olam by the Backstreet Boys. So we've been singing it ever since, and these adorable girls made it famous, made the Backstreet Boys famous at Stephen Wise. So please join us, Adon Olam, page 321, which you should have links to in the CCR flip book. Everybody clap at home. Come on, everybody, get up. This is your party. We don't have a party right now, but we're going to make one with the final song. Everybody join. Come on, clap. 1, 2, 3. Adon Olam, Hashem malach, beterem kol yetzir nivra, ve'iknasa, ve'chiso kol azayim lech, shemo nikra ve'achareh. כי חוטא כל לבדו, ימלוך נורא והוא היה, והוא הווה, והוא יהיה, ותפארה. אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יצא נברא, והתנסה בחסות כל הזי מלך. שמו נקרא והוא אחד, בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יצא נראה והתנסה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא והוא אלי וחיו עלי וצור חבלי וצרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יצא נברא ויתנסה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא בידו. אף כדרוכי בהתישן וההירה והמרוכי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא ירא. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יצא נראה להתנסה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יצא נברא להתנסה בחפצו כל